Hey folks, Chris Vandeviver here from WhyLogicProRules.com, the website that helps you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. Today I want to talk about the different options that are available to you when it comes to managing different takes and comping those takes together within Logic, specifically for instrument tracks. Now when I say different takes, what I mean is that you either are recording yourself playing an instrument with a mic in front of it, or you're using one of the included instruments within Logic or a third-party option, and you have a controller plugged in, a drum pad, or you're using the on-screen musical typing. Either way, you're going to lay down a performance. And every time you hit record and you lay down a performance, that's a take. So you can end up with 1 take, 10, 100. When it comes to comping, what I mean by that is you have multiple takes and you like certain bits of each take better than others. So you want to take, the first half of take 1, the second half of take 3, and the last chorus of take 4. And you want to combine those together into one take. That is the process of comping. Now, Logic has a robust toolkit available to you for either option, instrument tracks or audio tracks. But when it comes to instrument tracks, it can be not very obvious, a little confusing and frustrating, so I want to help out with this. Since we're going down this road anyways, we might as well start with audio and how we manage takes and comping with audio, and then we'll move into instrument tracks. Okay, I have an audio track here. We're just going to assume that I'm recording some vocals, even if I'm not, and I'm just going to hit record. You want to make sure your track is record enabled by hitting the R icon in the track header. Now we're ready to go. I'm going to use key command R to record onto this track. Here we go. Now let's assume that that was a fantastic performance, but we want to try another take. I mean, who doesn't want to try another take? Maybe you get something a little better. We're going to record again. And we'll say part of this phrase right here, I think could be better. So let's record again. Okay, so what's immediately happening is Logic is creating what is called a take folder, which is a very convenient tool for managing multiple takes. Instead of you having to tell Logic over and over again to create a new track or a new playlist, it's fine. You just hit R for record, you record your bit, and it's immediately put into this convenient folder, which you can expand or contract just by double clicking on the take folder. Now, what I love about take folders is what is called quick swipe comping. So say this part of take 2 I'm very happy with. It's like from here to here. So if I hover my cursor in the bottom half of the region, we get the quick swipe comping tool. If I click and now drag across, that part of take 2 is highlighted and immediately promoted to the main take. The top layer here is the main take. Super handy. So now I can pick that and I can pick that. And now we have our perfect take. We don't even have to worry about fades because as you can see, fades have been automatically added for smooth transitions between takes. And then when we're done, we can just double click this and we're good to go. We're all set with this comping. Now, if you come from a different DAW, such as Pro Tools is what is called playlists. Now, frankly, I prefer take folders and quick swipe comping way more than the other alternatives, but perhaps you don't agree with that, which is totally cool. That's why Logic introduced track alternatives. Let's use Option T to open the track header menu and go to the bottom here and you can see track alternatives. Click on that and suddenly this up and down arrow is next to the track name. If we click on that, we have a couple different options. Let's start with new. So we're going to create a new track alternative. When I click on that, our region disappears. It's not gone forever. All you have to do is go to the same double arrow, go to show inactive, and we can see here there's an alternative track, which is embedded in this track. And it's right here. It's muted. Okay, let's record some fake vocals. Here we go. I'm going to hit R. Okay, let's try again. Let's create a new track alternative. Oh, excuse me. New track alternative. And once again. Okay, so now we have 3 different alternatives. If we want to hear take B as opposed to take C, all we have to do is hit this power button here and it switches from one track alternative to the next. If we decide that take B is the better track alternative, we can click on this arrow and it'll be promoted to the main track. What's pretty cool as well about track alternatives is we can select certain portions of track C or A and promote them to the main playlist. So let's use the marquee tool. I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to use Option, click, and I'm going to drag this part of the region up. holding Option because it will copy and paste that part of the region instead of cutting it right out. And now it's been promoted. And if I decide that I like all this together, we can glue it together and boom, all set. Again, I prefer take folders as opposed to track alternatives, but it all depends on what you like better personally. Now that we've gone through all that, let's talk about instrument tracks. I'm going to hide the inactive tracks here. I'm going to create a new instrument track and we're going to open up Ultra Beat. And I'm just going to use the musical typing here. I'm going to play the kick. Super easy. Okay. Now, when it comes to managing takes and comping with instrument tracks, it's not as straightforward, but it can be. The first thing you have to do is you have to go up to Logic Pro 10 in the taskbar here, Preferences, Recording. And contained within the Preferences menu are some different options for managing takes. There's MIDI and audio. Now for MIDI, we've got plenty of options. When it says cycle off or on, that just means the yellow cycle bar here. We just open it up. Obviously, there we go. So cycle off is when that yellow bar is not active. Cycle on is when it is active. And if we click on this right here, we have many options. We have create take folder, we have merge, we have create track alternatives. I'm just going to focus on those three options. And let's start with create take folder. I'm going to leave this window open. Alrighty. So I'm going to record a performance with Ultra Beat. I'm going to use the musical typing like I said. Let's record. Okay, great. Now let's say I want to try again. Record. And one more time. Okay, perfect. Now we have 3 different takes to choose from. Double click to open. So we can pick one of these takes. Unfortunately, when it comes to MIDI or instrument tracks, we cannot make a specific selection of a take. You can only pick 1, 2, or 3, but you can't swipe across, which is kind of not handy when it comes to MIDI recordings. There are better options, just hold out for me. So, okay, we pick one of these. All right, that's okay, but perhaps you want to glue certain parts of different takes together. In that case, track alternatives are quite helpful. Go down to create track alternative for each option here. All right, now we have the double arrow. Select a new track alternative. I'm going to record and play those kicks. Okay, now let's create another track alternative. Record again. Now let's show our inactive track alternatives. All right, what's super cool in this case of track alternatives, just like how I did with the audio region, if I make a selection with my marquee tool, option click and drag it up to the main performance, now we're able to pick certain sections of different MIDI takes. And then if I highlight all 3 of these, hit key command J to join them, now it's one region. Perfect. So track alternatives, in my opinion, are way better for managing takes when it comes to MIDI. But there's an even better option depending on what you're trying to accomplish. If we set both of these to merge, this is super handy. I'm going to hide my inactive. So I've got these kick hits, but I want to lay some hi-hats over it. I don't want to create another take. I don't want to create another take folder. I just want to lay it over the top of this particular region. That's no problem. Open musical typing. Let me find some hats. Well, that's something akin to a hat. All right, I'm going to hit record and I'm just going to go to town with the hats. Let's give myself some lead up here. Here we go. Now, obviously that makes no musical sense, but you can see here that the hats have been added to this existing region. Super helpful. In this particular case, we're able to lay down certain instruments over top of each other. So we can lay the kick first, then the snare, then the hats. Easy peasy for managing MIDI performances and different takes of MIDI performances. You have even more options contained within this preference menu. So I suggest that you take a look at the different options. You can overlap different regions or merge selected regions. The world is really your oyster. You just have to remember to go to Logic Pro 10 in the taskbar, Preferences, Recording to access all of these options. So I hope that was helpful to you. If it was, as always, I highly suggest subscribing to the YouTube channel, Why Logic Pro Rules, or subscribing on the website itself, whylogicprorules.com. Every week, I'm creating new material, new posts, new emails, new videos to help you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. Thanks so much.